So welcome back to this fifth episode of my Antarctic Odyssey. The weather is pretty bad right now, so we've found some safe place to moor for a few days. You can see the background. In the background you see the Ukrainian base in Antarctic, which they bought from the British for £1 about 15 years ago, I understand. And right now we are busy inspecting the lines. It's going to get more windy this afternoon, so we need to make sure that those lines hold. They don't rattle any rocks and wear through. The rest of the video is mainly about another base in the Antarctic. It's the British base. It's Port Lockroy, or it's a British base. I think it's more commercial. It's more of a shop right now. Apparently it's the most southerly post office in the world, and we have some video about that. Otherwise, for now, safe, and I hope you enjoy the video.
Some days ago we arrived at Port Lockroy, which was previously a British scientific base and probably hosted some whaling activities too, but today I think it is mainly a tourist attraction. Postcards can be sent from here, and the gift shop generates most of the revenues required to maintain the settlement. As always, there are penguins everywhere. They mainly just sit there all day, with the little ones, the ones which still have some fluff on them, actually being quite pushy, also to us humans, in expectation of food. One of the staff was so very kind to allow filming of his brief history of the station.
End of 19th century, Jean-Baptiste Charcot has the great French Antarctic expedition. He comes down here, and if you look on the map, there's a lot of French names. A lot of those names were given by Charcot, and his great expedition worked a lot in cartography and mapping the area, including the area here. So even though we say Goodyear Island, it's Goodyear. It's a French name. It's one of his mechanics on board of one of his ships. And even though we say Lockroy, it's Lockroy. It was another French finance minister that financed the operation. So this had been already mapped and sort of seen. After that, the whaling industry moves in, and this became a whaling station. You can still see down there a couple of whaling boats, a winch, whaling bones on that side. When you came yesterday or today, you came through Jugla, you might have seen some whaling bones assembled on the beach there. So this was a very active whaling station. 1921 we're talking about. By 1944 the whaling days were gone, and the Brits have decided they wanted to make a territorial claim to Antarctica. One thing. Second thing, they wanted to come down here because there was hearsay of German ships in the area. They wanted to keep an eye on the traffic. End of Second World War, so a pretty active period for Europe and for Britain, obviously. So they sent an expedition down, Operation Tarleton, with the intention of building Britain's first permanent base, which wasn't going to come down as south as we are. They're going to stay further up north. Sea ice is too thick, difficult conditions, so they keep coming down until they find a shelter here. Just like the whalers did before them, just like Charcot did before them, and just like you guys still do now. Whenever there's bad weather coming, we can have up to 12 or more yachts in the bay, sailing yachts in the bay, sheltering from the wind and from the sea conditions. Yeah, so it's still used with the same purpose still today, which is kind of cool. Anyway, 1944, they come down with a load of wood from Norwich and a load of wood from whaling stations they picked up along the way, and they built this. And they built a Nissan hut. We call it a Nissan's, the architect or the guy that designed it. Yeah, they built that as a warehouse, and they built this as their first permanent place where they're planning on wintering for 2 years. I'm staying for 2 years between 2 winters. Yeah. Very quickly, realization that there's no traffic of ships around here. It's actually pretty isolated, much more than now. Also, they brought a post office with them as a way to obviously send letters home whenever ships would come, but also to issue stamps, which are a form of financial transaction which help the territorial claim they wanted to make. So until about 63 they stay here, different teams every 2 years or every year, depending on the years, and they developed the base as a science base around lots of things, but the main thing was ionospheric measurements, so measurements of radio frequencies and electric waves in the ionosphere, so about 50 to 80 kilometers above sea level. So yeah, the big machine in one of those rooms, you'll still see the machine, it's not in the right room, but I'll tell you about it later. And they used to send electric waves up and measure the results down. This is important studies that continued and continue to our days, and that also contributed to the discovery of the hole in the ozone layer in the 90s, if you remember those. If you old enough to remember, I don't, because I was born, well, in the 70s. Anyway, fast forward to 1962, the base is abandoned, it's too old, it's derelict. There are proper, more purpose-built facilities in the Antarctic Peninsula, and they move everything over to those other facilities rather than other bases. And when I say it's abandoned, it really was just left. So by 1993, the Antarctic Treaty says that every country that has possessions in Antarctica has to either remove their buildings and make the space good again, as in bring it back to its wild state as it should be, or keep them up and prevent them from contaminating the surroundings. Okay? British Antarctic Survey is then entrusted with keeping these buildings up, and the UK Antarctic Heritage Trust is created to do exactly that. So we now look after this building and that building. They're both historic buildings. The whole island is an historic site and monument because of the heritage of the whaling days. And we look after 5 other sites across the Antarctic Peninsula. You might have seen a few. The closest one, Damoy Hut, just the other side of this place. So every year we come down since the early 90s to open the museum, open the shop, which to begin with was basically a post office. Now it's kind of a bit better of a shop than a post office. And by operating this space, we finance the recovery of the buildings and their maintenance. You'll see that 2 rooms are closed. The floors have got a huge amount of water ingress. The wood has gone rotten and they're unsafe to step on. So that's one of the big tasks we're doing for the next 3 years. This year we've already replaced these windows. They're brand new. If you compare them to the ones on the other side, you'll see a big difference. And we've also refelted and we also repainted that building. So there's constant work being done here, which again is funded by the shop and the post office. So don't be surprised if someone asks you for a donation. Our operation here represents 85% of our annual budget, to which the government doesn't contribute at all. It's all privately funded by donations and by the operation of the shop. Okay. So here we are.
So after that excellent explanation, we took a look at the living quarters and the working quarters inside. And then we were on our way again. It seems that no video of this part of the world is complete without pictures of mountains, icebergs, ice fields, penguins, more icebergs, and so it goes on. It's truly beautiful.
Alright, so that was that for this episode, number 5. Hope you enjoyed it. Back shortly with some more updates. For now, we continue to keep Firebird safe, moored nicely to the various rocks on shore.